Why does everyone think that anything is going to come of the Jeffrey Epstein files? I personally don't think we will see anything meaningful. Now, I'll explain why I think that. It's been, we've gone through several administrations since Jeffrey Epstein uh, died in jail. And, when he did die in jail, Trump was in office. And that's not even relevant to me because if there was something meaningful about other people that Trump wasn't involved with, they would have blown the lid off the thing and prevented any Democrat associated with this from ever getting elected again or anyone associated with them. Anyway, it would have been a big deal. Likewise, during the Biden administration, if it was going to be a big blow the lid off this thing and Trump and everyone else is like involved, then why didn't they do that then? I'm reminded of the Miami federal attorney Alex Acosta saying that he was quoted once saying that he was told that Epstein belongs to intelligence and basically hands off, or that he was untouchable, or something to that effect. I'm not looking at the quote, but you can look it up. That tells me, all of these things combined kind of tell me that nothing's going to come of this, or at least nothing like we want to happen. None of the people that are truly involved with this are going to go to prison or anything like that. And the reason I think that is because the things that I just mentioned tell me that there's a little bit more than just this guy was a sex trafficking or, trafficking minors criminal. He was involved with people very highly placed in the government. So what does that mean? It means either he was employed by them or, I honestly, I guess that's kind of what it is. They were employed by him, right? I don't think that he was the people that we see in pictures that were highly placed in the government definitely knew who he was. They have access to the intelligence apparatus of the government. So there's no way that anyone in a highly placed position wasn't made aware of who this guy was and what he did, and potentially what he did for the government. So that's my speculation. And I want to say that right now, this is my speculation. I'm not saying that I have evidence of this or anything else, but to me, the evidence is that nothing has happened with this so far, except for a bunch of blustery conversations and a bunch of teasing from this administration about whether or not they're going to release the things, and then they do and it's nothing, or or it's just a bunch of stuff that everyone already had, or all these things, because ultimately what would have to happen is that the government would have to admit that they either knew about and therefore condoned through lack of action child sex trafficking, or they actually used that as a means for intelligence gathering or blackmail or, political manipulation or whatever. So I guess in short, at the very best scenario, the government turned a blind eye, or government officials turned a blind eye, and highly placed or powerful people associated with this guy, and that was kind of it. He was, in the scene among these financiers and whatever. So that is the most innocent version of this. The worst version of this is that he was in fact an intelligence asset, and that they not only condoned but used Jeffrey Epstein and child sex trafficking to manipulate political arenas or other, whatever. I can't even speculate on what someone in that position would do with this kind of thing. But that is to say that, if he wasn't actually an asset, maybe they outsourced things to this guy. If they needed dirt on someone, maybe he was able to connect, or get them in a compromising position and then use that against them. That's kind of it. I wanted to keep this short, and but I just hope anyone watching this doesn't hold the delusion that we're going to see something meaningful from this Jeffrey Epstein thing, and then a bunch of people are going to get carted off to jail. That's just not how it's going to go down. And it's disgusting to me, the possibilities of what I just laid out, that, like I said, from the condoning the thing because, connections, or maybe that he had dirt on some people, so they let him do the thing that he was doing. That is plenty bad, in my opinion. Now, if they actually used him as an operative and then used his business, if you will, or his operation as a means to gather intelligence or other things, that's pretty bad. So I really don't think anything like that is ever going to come out, because if it did, I just imagine that if we all were suddenly became aware that the United States government has been using minors, sex trafficking minors, just for political machinations, or any kind of machinations, right? Political or otherwise, right? That to me would be obscene, and I think that is the reason why we're not seeing any of this stuff, and that we won't see any of this stuff. And if it isn't already completely destroyed, any meaningful evidence of this thing, anything that's going to come out is going to be highly tailored to suit whoever releases it. So that's kind of my take on it. I hope everyone's not just holding their breath for this thing that I think is never going to happen, because yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. So take care, everyone.